Hello there, Captains, and welcome to another episode of Game Fact Files. Today we're setting sail in pursuit of the elusive treasure known as card advantage. Before we dive into the video, take a moment and click the subscribe button and become a part of our crew's thriving community. In this video, we will talk about card advantage as a concept, the forms of card advantage, and forms of virtual card advantage. In the section of virtual card advantage, I will skip tempo since it was discussed in a previous video. I will also leave a link above for anyone that wants to check it out. The basic concept of card advantage is one player having more cards in hand and/or in play than their opponent. Card advantage is generally indicated in terms of a positive number. If a player plays a card or utilizes an effect that allows them to draw more cards, such as Sanji's Pilaf, that player is said to have gained plus X card advantage, with X representing the amount of cards drawn, minus however many were used to draw said cards. In the scenario of playing Pilaf, a player has gained 2 cards and spent 1, leading to a card advantage of plus 1. Card advantage is often also the result of making a play, where a player's own cards are used to neutralize or KO a greater number of the opponent's cards or characters. If a player plays Kaido and destroys 3 opponents' characters when they have no creatures in play, they are said to have gotten 3 for 1, where 3 indicates the number of opposing cards removed from play, and 1 indicates the cards spent in order to accomplish the outcome. In general, it is seen as a baseline to spend 1 card to get rid of 1 opposing card. This is often referred as trading. Each card drawn allows the player to get closer to however they intend to win the game, and the same is true for the opponent. When you gain card advantage over your opponent, you are closer to having the right cards to win the game than they are. Card advantage is typically generated in 4 ways. Draw effects. These are effects which cause player to draw more cards from their decks. Drawing more cards gives players more options and more versatility by which to create an advantage for themselves. Card advantage is generated when a player plays a card that draws more than 1 card, trading the card itself for more resources. Discard effects. These are cards which cause a player to put cards from their hand into the trash pile. A player can generate card advantage by casting a spell that makes the opponent discard 2 or more cards, like Isho. Playing a card which makes your opponent discard just 1 card creates a one-on-one trade, which does not create card advantage. However, disrupting your opponent's heavy play like Newgate with an X-Drake can decide the outcome of the game. Cards that put opponents' cards back to their decks like Mihawk give you card advantage as well. Sweeper effects. These are cards which put multiple opponents' cards into their trash pile. Some of these cards, such as the Black Shanks, will KO all cards of a certain cost, but often decks that include such cards will minimize the number of their own cards which will be affected, and thus make the impact for their opponent much greater. Unfavorable trading. When you are forced to spend 2 or more cards to KO one of your opponent's characters, you are losing card advantage. A common example is playing a Gordon and a pistol to be able to kill one of your opponent's beaters like Yamato. Trading 2 cards for 1 puts your opponent ahead in terms of card advantage. Virtual card advantage can refer to a number of different situations and effects, which, while not providing a direct advantage in the number of cards available, changes the value of the cards available to one or both players. Card selection is the simplest of these, which allows for the player to influence which cards he or she will draw. For example, a card like Perona or Doflamingo does not directly provide card advantage, as it costs 1 card to play and draws 0 cards. However, as it allows the player to choose the order of the top cards of their deck before they draw, the value of the drawn card will almost always be significantly higher than the value of a single random card in any given situation. Even in the event of not finding a valuable card, knowing that such a card is not going to be drawn still provides value in that the player can change the strategy accordingly and plan for the cards that are available. An extreme form of card selection are characters that fetch cards from your deck, like Odin or Sentomaru, that search for specific cards from your deck. Sentomaru is one of the cards that belong in recurring effects section as well. Recurring effects come in many different forms, but all of them give the potential to obtain an effect multiple times for the cost of a single card, thus obtaining more than 1 card's worth of value. There are an exceptionally wide variety of these effects, ranging from single cards that once in play can be repeatedly used like Orlambus, or cards that allow other cards to be recurred, but provide no value themselves by returning a used card to its owner's hand, or resetting an ability so it can be used again. In all of these cases, more effects are available than the cards used. Along with tempo, cards that provide virtual advantage, or that enable cards or effects to be recycled, are typically some of the most powerful in the game, because virtual advantage is often significantly more powerful than direct card advantage. While having access to a larger number of cards is certainly an advantage, having access to or denying the use of specific cards or effects can be even more so. As you have a limit in the number of copies of the cards that can be played in your deck, having access to any one card just by drawing can require much higher numbers of draws than are practical to achieve. As a result, most decks that rely on card advantage to create a winning position, where the opponent runs out of cards, use a mix of direct and virtual advantage to ensure that the available cards align with the player's victory conditions. That's all for today, Captains. In the next videos, we'll start playtesting with new decks, including the ST-10-3 Captain Starter. Don't miss out, and stay tuned for our next adventure on the channel. Until then, take care, and see you in the next video.